Hello! Today I'm going to be working on one of my dioramas, my Military World War Two dioramas. The one I'm working on is the North Africa one, which is this one at the back here with the train track. And in this video I'm going to focus on the Plaster Bandage, just making it look a bit tidier with the polystyrene and everything, and showing how to do some rocks as well. So what I'm going to do is get this all moved off. These are the two other ones I'm working on, the one with the Panther tank and the half track, and I'll be doing separate videos on them in the future as well. So I'm going to get it cleared off and let's get started with the North Africa one. Okay, so a couple things you need to do some of this plaster bandage and everything. You need scissors. You must have a scissors because you need to cut it. The plaster bandage, I think they call it plaster Paris as well. A plate to cut it on, because you'll be cutting it into strips, which I'll show you, and warm water. The water doesn't have to be warm, but you'll be dipping your hands in, water on your hands, sun goes cold. It's better to be warm really, or you get cold hands pretty fast. Also something to wipe your hands in. I do have tissue paper here. So yeah, so what we're going to do is start cutting some of the plaster bandage. Okay, so let's get started. One thing I didn't mention was you need some polystyrene. Now you can get this from packaging when you buy some online. I did manage to get a load of it off eBay, quite cheap, massive plates of it, and it's good for insulation as well. But that's how we're going to form our rocks later on. So let's get cutting some of this. I'm finally getting on with some videos. I haven't been well in the last couple of weeks, but I have been able to film the how to fit your decals or decals to your RC car with Mike, which has been pretty fun actually. We've really enjoyed doing those videos, and we'll be doing part 3 next week now. So just cut it into small pieces. It depends. You don't need really long pieces. You don't. I've done a video on this before on my other channel for model railways, because I use this all the time on that. On one of my other mocks I'll be using filler, poly filler, which also works really nicely. I'm not using it on this mock just because I want to. It's a bigger mock and it's going to be quite flat. It's just to get the different levels in certain places. Where some of my other mocks I'm doing, I'm going to try and do some cliffs and really big rocks on the side of the dirt tracks. I'm going to cut all this up. I probably don't need it all, but this is the last row I have at the moment, and I'm probably going to need a lot anyway to do the rocks. But you don't have to cut it all up. I mean, it's really down to how much you need. This always comes in the middle. I do keep these because these do come in handy on building models, certain stuff. I've used them on in the past. I've used them on a model railway bridge to look like a girder pillar going up to the bottom of the bridge. So yeah, if you need them, keep them. If you've got something to put them, I mean, they don't take up any room. You also get bigger ones as well. So we got our plaster bandage. Before we go any farther, we need to get the mock in, the diorama. I call it mock. You don't really call it a mock because it's not Lego. I've been doing Lego for the last couple of years, so we got bits of polystyrene. Don't need all of it, but I did have a piece cut out for this corner down here. Now to hold that in place, I just use normal PVA glue. If you've got a Poundland near you, they got these in that at the moment, £1, and I really like it actually. I've got a couple more bottles upstairs in the model railway room, and I usually just buy the really big bottles, but you don't need it. This is ideal. So what I'm going to do is just put a little bit down here where the polystyrene's going. Don't need too much because it just keeps moving around. There we go. And that's it. Now what I'm going to do with that is get one of these pieces and maybe form a little bit of let's use that piece actually. That'll do. And with this thin polystyrene, it's really easy to break, so you can pretty much do what you want with it. There we go. Put something like that. Go. I mean, the glue's not really going to hold it in place at the moment because it's moving around, but as soon as you put the plaster bandage on, it's just going to hold it perfectly. I've got some bigger bits here now. I don't want it to be completely flat, but it's got to be more flat than most places. I don't know, does that look right? I want it to be kind of I do want to put some trees in it as well, so that might be something to do a video on, as I've never built model railway trees, and that might come in handy. There we go. I probably should have got another one of these from upstairs because this one's running out, but it should be enough for this video. I don't really need too much of it. That's fine. I don't want to do anything with this. This has got to stay flat because this is where the train track is going. I do want to build some train wagons actually for this one. What I'll do now is just move the camera. I'm going to take a look at the other end. There we go. I also got PVA glue all on my hands, which is nice. Some bits of polystyrene was done a while ago, as you can see. I started this this diorama quite a long time ago actually. Now as for, like I said, I want to do some rocks as well. I might even resort to using real ones outside, just because you can put plaster on it and it will look good anyway. But I think that's about it. I don't want anything over here. This area is going to be quite flat. I got an idea for you. As you can see, I put camp in a little square. What doesn't look like a square, but vehicle basically. Some kind of vehicle is going to go there. I got another piece of polystyrene, so I may as well use it. I'll just use it back over here. Just make this a bit more hilly. There we go. Right. Now we need our plaster bandage and our warm water. What I'm going to do, actually, I'll put the water over here and move the bandage over there, just so you can see a bit more of what I'm doing. That should be fine actually, yeah. So if I put the water just over here, you might see some of the stuff over the corner here, what's going into the mock, like the tent. So, get your plaster bandage. Need your water, and all you do is just dip it in. Water's gone quite cold actually. I was waiting for the battery to charge. There we go. It will drip, and just literally. Now, I'm not too worried about going over the board at the moment because I'm going to put a nice trim in around the board that I'm working on to tidy everything up, but I'm not going to be doing that yet, so it doesn't matter if I go over the plaster bandage at all. I probably do have just about enough. It's surprising when you're working on it, you do get through it. You really do get through the plaster bandage really fast. Just dip it in, there we go. And then obviously I will be adding scenery to this and that, so you won't even see the plaster bandage. next part we will be looking at painting as well. We got to paint it just so you don't get any white showing through. Just smooth it over your finger where it's covered the other bandage, and that way the water on your finger from dipping it in will soak everything together. You notice it moves quite a bit. That's going to stop as soon as this goes rock hard, which will probably take, in a room like this, it's not exactly warm, I got an heater on. This room's always stays nice and cool, which I like. But you can get an airdryer on it, heat it up. In a nice warm room, this would probably take at least 20 minutes to dry, and then fully done overnight, and it'd be fine. There we go. That's kind of built up that bit, and it looks like a shear drop. Now I don't want that, which that's fine. I can sort that out after. Right, I'm gonna move the water out of the way because we'll do this bit now. I hope I do have enough. Surprising, like I said. And if you do end up with too much, if you're not gonna use it for anything else, I would just recommend going over it again in places, just to really help make it stronger, because the more layers you put on, it's going to make it more stronger. Not so bad doing something small like this. It's when you do something really big, like my river I done on one of my last model railways, and that took some time, but it was worth it. It really did look nice. I don't know if I have any pictures I put in the video with it. I'll probably do somewhere. But that was a really good model railway and a really good scene to the railway. Let's move that back. Let's move the camera around. There we go. There's no point pausing the video at this point because I'll just keep it going and going. The video's not as funny as when Mike's in it, mind. Me and Mike do have a laugh when we're filming. It's quite funny. But yeah, this is working quite nicely actually. This is also my first ever World War II diorama. Saying that, I have done a small one actually, which I'm hoping to do a video on soon. And of course, when you paint over this, you still see the pattern of the bandage. You could go over it with a brush with water and it smooths it out really nicely. I'm not doing that because I'm going to be covering it with scenery and everything, so it doesn't really matter. But if you're doing rocks with this, that's going to be right on display. Yeah, you just want to go over it with a paintbrush with water, and that smooths everything out very nicely. So yeah, I ran out of plaster bandage. I can't do any more, but the main thing is I got this area done, and that's good because that means now I can paint that and get the train track put in place, which will be going roughly about here. This is North Africa, so it's got to be quite sandy. These areas might be quite green. I'm thinking about putting a tree in this corner over here. Again, when this dries, I'll probably just mark out some areas where I want to put stuff, and then this part over here will be quite flat because I want to put the tent down a vehicle, and we're going to have a guy on the radio as well. To note, this will be all German models on this area. This is not for the British or American Army. I haven't built any of them actually at the moment. But I do like doing the German stuff. I do like some of the tanks, especially the Panther, which I'm working on. The Panther won't be going in this one. Originally I planned to, but I'm not going to, just because I'm going to put him into his own mock, his own diorama. I keep saying mock. He will be going into his own diorama. I have got water on the side here on my bench so I'll just clean that up. Polystyrene can get quite messy. If you can, break it up outside into pieces, just so it doesn't really get in your workspace and everything. Then if you do, you can get an Hoover on it anyway. I've got a dog barking up there, my dog. I'm just going to clean this water up. There we go. If you do get water in places, like I got a bit around here, maybe where it's just seeping out of the bandage now, just dab it like that. It's not going to harm it at all. Not going to change the fixture. That way you don't get water running around in places you don't want it to run around. So that's it. I will put the tent in place just so you can see the tent roughly about here, I would say. I want to get that painted up. But what we'll do, I'll finish all the plaster Paris as soon as I get some more, and the next part we will be looking at placing some items on it and painting, just to see where the items gotta go, and then they'll be removed and then we'll paint it, of course. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, this small tutorial on plaster bandage and everything, and I shall see you all soon. Bye for now.